Am I the a-hole for telling my dad, aunts, and uncles to grow up and get over their mom's affair? My grandma 65 female and I 21 male get along really well. She's amazing. I love her and look up to her. That's why my perspective can be biased and need some point of views to know if I messed up. Grandma had 5 children. My dad 43 male, my uncle Tim 42 male, my uncle Matt 35 male, my aunt Faith 47 female, and my aunt Susan 30 female with grandpa 66 male. Grandpa was a terrible father and a garbage husband. An alcoholic who spent all his money on liquor. Never supported grandma while she worked her butt to provide for her kids as a baker. She got tired of it and kicked him out in the 90s. She stayed as single mom and only provider. Did he pay child support? No. Did he help her buy a house for his kids? No. Did he ask for custody or try to spend time with his kids? No. He only visited once in a blue moon. Grandma and grandpa never divorced since my grandma didn't believe in it and she was always a single mother. Then, my grandma started dating William, 67 male, 2 years ago, but she didn't introduce him to her kids because she was afraid of their reaction and I was the only one who knew about the affair. Grandma announced that she was moving to William's house this past July and everyone was furious and started accusing her of cheating and that she was choosing her affair partner over her own kids. She was even hesitant about moving in with William, but I encouraged her because he makes her happy and he is a nice man. It's been almost 2 months and they refuse to talk to her or have low contact with her and that is hurting her. She asked my grandpa for a divorce and he got mad at her and accused her of cheating. They were talking trash about her. They sex at a family dinner. Thus, I told them to grow up and stop acting like kids since they are not. I told them that they should be happy about their mom's happiness because that woman dedicated her life to make life easier for them. And it's so unfair that they crap on her while praising my grandpa, who had girlfriends by the way. They all called me the a-hole for not taking their feelings into consideration and they say that something doesn't feel right about their mom dating at this age. They accuse her of cheating, but that isn't cheating. They haven't been together for around 25 years. My grandpa had a couple of girlfriends. And yes, they were mad at him too, but it's time to grow up. Am I the a-hole for telling them to grow up? I think they need to understand that their parents ain't getting back together, in case they have a hope, and that grandma has a right to be happy. I mean, she did her job already without any help. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Legally, they're separated. Unfortunately, your grandma will have to divorce grandpa if she does want to have a marriage between her and William, recognized under state and federal law. It's not an affair since they are separated. Not the a-hole. Your dad, uncles, and aunts are childish and are acting in a selfish way. Your grandma has the right to be happy at any age. As you said, this is very far from cheating, since your grandparents split up over 2 whole decades ago. Her family needs to accept that and let her have some joint happiness in her life finally, when she can focus on herself instead of focusing on raising 5 kids alone. I feel sad for grandma to realize that she raised such ungrateful a-holes. How utterly disappointing for her. Could they even name one instance where their father did anything of significance for them? Not the a-hole. I bet it's not even the cheating so much as it is that she has someone in her life who gets some of her attention and they want it all. That cheating is just an excuse. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your grandparents have legally been separated for 25 years, and your dad and his siblings bear being ageist by saying at 65 your grandma is too old to date. Personally, I'd be telling them the statistics about STDs in the senior population. The geriatric population really likes to get it on, you know, seeing as they don't have to worry about anyone getting knocked up. Those senior living communities and nursing homes are just as much more wrinkled version of Love Island. And your grandma still has 20 years to go before she hits that crowd. I'm not at all kidding. Look it up. Old people are really into lots of casual hookups. You are 100% right on this. You are awesome for having your grandmas back. I hope your grandma and William have the best golden years together, and that her children all get their heads out of their behinds and grovel at their mom's and William's feet for being pricks. Can't confirm on this one. Here in the UK, there was a whole mini epidemic in care homes for the elderly with syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my mother-in-law to leave our wedding because her perfume was bothering me? I just got married to the love of my life. I've usually got it on pretty well with my in-laws. Usually, my mother-in-law doesn't wear perfume, or at least not any that I've been able to notice. My wife had her mother be her matron of honor, so she was standing with us up front. It was a small area, and with her right next to my wife, I was able to smell her perfume. Shortly after the ceremony started, I started to get watery eyes and sniffles. Our ceremony was supposed to only last 20 minutes max, so I thought I would just push through unless it got worse. It didn't get worse until after the ceremony when new mother-in-law hugged me. Itchy eyes, itchy throat, and headache got added to the mix. My wife asked if I was alright, and I told her I think her mother's perfume was getting to me. We had someone go get some allergy medication. I took one, but it didn't do a whole lot, and I started to feel out of it. Get to the reception, and we started to do our photos, and I couldn't do group photos with my mother-in-law in them. I told my wife we needed to figure something out because my symptoms weren't letting up, and I didn't want to be out of it from taking more meds for our reception or have to leave our own reception. My wife asked her mom to keep some distance between us to try and make it easier for me. It didn't really. The perfume followed her like a damn cloud. Then my wife asked her mom to try and wash wherever she dabbed her perfume, but mother-in-law said she hadn't dabbed it on. She spritzed herself so it was on her dress too. At that point, they said they were out of ideas and there wasn't anything we could do. I said there was one more thing, and suggested that maybe mother-in-law leave to change her dress and then come back, or even just go to a nearby thrift store or something and get any kind of clothes. I'd even pay for them. I asked my mother-in-law to either please to do that or to leave, and would visit later with cake because it was getting to the point that I would have to leave. My wife and mother-in-law objected to this because my wife wanted her mom there the whole time. I understand the day was big for my wife and she wanted her mother there. And I wanted her there too, but I wasn't able to enjoy my own wedding. I wound up sitting outside with some of my family and groomsmen. I started to feel better, and when I did, my wife came out and asked if I'd be going back inside then. I told her not so long as her mom was still there and hadn't changed. That night ended with my wife spending our wedding night at her parents' house. Am I the a-hole for asking my mother-in-law to leave? Edited to add, yes, my wife is aware of this. I had a similar reaction to a perfume she bought before. This was the only third time I've had a reaction that bad to perfumes. My wife and mother-in-law objected to this because my wife wanted her mom there the whole time. But your wife didn't want her new husband there? Oof. Definitely not the a-hole. Bad situation, but you were being reasonable. Mother-in-law should have gone and taken a shower and returned with clean clothes. Wife is being unreasonable. I hope you didn't sign the wedding papers yet. I actually had an allergic reaction to the flowers in my wife's bouquet. But since the wedding was outside, it didn't hit me until days later when we were driving away from the hotel with a bouquet in the car. There wasn't a viable option for sealing it up, so we ended up tossing out the bouquet. Mother-in-law sent over a vase of flowers a few months ago with the same flowers. I didn't even realize it was the same flowers, but within a minute of me being in the same room, I was wrecked. Not the a-hole. I can't believe your mother-in-law and your new wife would be so selfish. You struggling to breathe and simply be at your wedding is wildly messed up when mother-in-law had opportunity to just buy a new outfit or come back later. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my daughter be in wedding photos? I, 30 female, have a daughter, Lily, 5 female. My brother, James, 32 male, and his wife, Brittany, 26 female, got married in July. I was friendly with Brittany before they were dating/engaged, but we weren't friends. James and I are very close though. When James first proposed to Brittany and they started wedding planning, it was made very clear to me that Lily and I would be part of the wedding. Throughout the wedding planning process, it was reiterated that Lily would be a flower girl and I would be maid of honor. A few weeks before the wedding, Brittany came to my house to talk to me. She explained that her family had raised concerns about kids attending the wedding, and Brittany/James have decided to make the ceremony child-free, but that Lily was more than welcome to come to the reception. I tell her something along the lines of, "Okay, it's your wedding. I love my brother, so I'll do whatever he asks of me." Fast forward to the rehearsal. We line up and everything is going as expected until Brittany's 3 nieces, 5 female, 7 female, 8 female, walk in as junior bridesmaids. I'm confused and slightly annoyed, but whatever. After, James pulls me to the side and says that Brittany was worried that Lily would accidentally ruin the wedding with a temper tantrum, and that's why they lied about the wedding be child-free. I explained to James that this really angers me, and it hurt that they think that about my child. But it's fine. I had already arranged for my friend to watch Lily during the ceremony and then meet me for the reception. James said he understood my feelings and didn't agree with Lily not being invited. The day of the wedding, Brittany asks where Lily is and why she wasn't there while we got ready. I explained that she is with a friend and will be at the reception later. Brittany then says she's going to call so Lily can be brought over for the pictures because people will ask why she's missing in the pictures, and it will make her look bad. I told her she can call, but my friend knows the situation and won't come until I ask her to. Brittany called James to have him make me stop being a petty witch, but he said he knew the plan and didn't see a problem with it. She then asked what they're supposed to tell people when they look at photos, and asked where Lily is. I said to tell them that she wasn't invited since she has too many temper tantrums. She called me a witch and said I was taking things too personally. After that, the wedding was awkward to say the least. There was a lot of drama within the wedding party that had nothing to do with the situation. James texted our family group chat with a link to the wedding photos. Now extended family has been reaching out, wanting to know why Lily isn't in any pictures and I have to explain the situation. My mom is on my side, but all my aunts/uncles said that I'm a petty a-hole. So am I the a-hole? Edited to add. 1. Does my daughter has a history of throwing temper tantrums? No, throwing temper tantrums is out of the norm for her. 2. How I was maid of honor without knowing other kids would be involved in the wedding? I was originally just a bridesmaid, but drama within the wedding party is the reason Brittany's promoted me to maid of honor. 3. Just to clarify the timeline a little bit, James and Brittany did first look/couple photos the week before the wedding. On the wedding day itself, the only picture that we took were get ready/bridal party and family photos. Now for the comments. What an absolute crap show. Not a hole. Your daughter wasn't invited, so why would she be in the pictures? Although I'm curious, why is your family so concerned about your daughter having a temper tantrum? Is this a pattern with her? No, she doesn't throw temper tantrums on a regular basis. It's definitely not a pattern and is very out of the norm for her. Not the a-hole, whether Lily throws tantrums or not. The bride/groom made their choices clear. Who comes and doesn't is their choice, nobody else's. Lying to you about it was super trashy. No excuse for them there. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Make it seem like the kids were warmly welcomed when in fact Lily was coldly excluded. It's their wedding day and you must respect that, but that doesn't mean having your daughter become a prop for the official photos, or assisting them in misleading the family and relatives by implying Lily was invited when she wasn't. Personally, I think you've done perfectly. Just explain the situation and tell your brother you understand and forgive him for misleading you about Lily, but you understand he has bigger problems than you. And if he needs to talk to someone, you'll always be there. He probably will at some point, because it sounds like Brittany is in the middle of more problems than Lily's wedding photo. Not the a-hole. She got her wish. Lily was not at the wedding and was at the reception, which is why sometimes we have to be careful what we wish for. The photos represent things perfectly. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for sending the police after my ex-brother-in-law after an heirloom got lost? My ex-husband and I had a son, 11 now. 4 years ago, we divorced and he moved into the outhouse of his aging dad. Then last year, my ex died of a sudden stroke. Our marriage ended on good terms, so at the funeral, my ex-father-in-law offered us to come over and look through my ex's stuff to see if we wanted anything. He also said that we should take our time as it's not going anywhere. It took us 6 weeks to gather the strength, only to realize that most of his stuff was already gone. We asked my ex-father-in-law about it, who was as surprised as us. He explained my ex's brother was there a couple of times to check on the house and occasionally get some documents. After a lot of pressing, my ex-brother-in-law admitted that he sold or threw away most things to prepare the house to be rented out. My son and I were heartbroken. My ex-father-in-law was too, but took this as a sign to add something to his will. My son and he both were history buffs and bonded over that. My ex-father-in-law also had a small collection of historical artifacts, books, and other trinkets that was his biggest pride. And after the whole ordeal with my ex, he put in his will that my son is to inherit it. 2 weeks ago, my ex-father-in-law passed. We waited until after the funeral before we went over to get the collection. First time ex-brother-in-law told us he was in a hurry at the moment and we should come back later. The next day, he told us that he couldn't find it. Must have been lost or the old man got rid of it. Heck, for all I know, it could have been stolen. I saw red. As soon as I was back home, I called the cops and told them the story and made sure to stress my ex-brother-in-law's suspicion that it might have been stolen. They must have finally come round to investigate because yesterday I received a call from a furious ex-brother-in-law that the police were at his home. After realizing there was neither remorse nor urgency in his voice, I doubled down with a bluff and told him I'm suspecting that there might have been cultural goods in the collection that would have needed to be registered, and that I was just about to call the cops again because this would escalate this from simple theft to antiquities fencing. We had the collection dropped off at our house an hour later, after he suddenly was able to find it. My son is over the moon, and I'm happy he has a way of connecting to his late granddad through the collection. Being a small town, this is now naturally the talk of the city, and I have no doubts that the time the police were at their house will be brought up every time someone says ex-brother-in-law's name for years to come. And of course, everybody is picking sides. And through the vineyard, I heard that some people are painting me as a greedy a-hole, while others think the same of my ex-brother-in-law. While none of this will have an impact on my family, we're likely to move away now that there's not family left here. I do feel bad for maybe tainting my son's memory of his granddad and uncle by going for the nuclear option, and fear it might have been unproportional as he could have genuinely just been unable to find it. So, am I the a-hole? I don't think he was genuinely anything. You bluffed. And an hour later he found it? Yeah, right. Definitely not the a-hole. He deserves to have the cop visit tag follow him for the rest of his days. Bless his heart. It's so weird how people can complain about others making them face consequences for their actions, but those consequences are 100% normal and expected. Like, you stole things. Police visits only? You are getting off lucky, buddy. Not the a-hole. I would call your brother-in-law a vulture, except that's pretty harsh on actual vultures who are useful to the ecosystem. You found and protected your son's inheritance. Any small-town gossips who don't see that have either been fed a skewed version of events or are just as greedy-grabby as brother-in-law. Oh, I'm pretty sure in the current retelling of events, there are already drugs, the mafia or the government involved. Nothing beats the creativity of a game of telephone involving a rural small town. Am I the a-hole for shouting at my sister while she's on her deathbed? My 26 female sister Nancy, 39 female, and I have had a strained relationship for as long as I can remember. For a bit of background, Nancy's parents were my late aunt and uncle, who passed away in a car accident when she was 6, and my parents adopted her. Growing up, I realized that she got more love and care than I did, but I just wrote it off because I didn't want to blame her for her trauma or how she handles triggers. When I was a teen, I got tired of her always needing to trump my accomplishments or be the center of attention. I finished high school when I was 16, and after I received my matric results, my parents planned a big party for me. But the week before, Nancy fell down a flight of stairs, and my party had to be canceled. As I was sitting in the waiting room with my parents, I had an epiphany and realized that a lot of her accidents coincidentally happened when something big was planned for me. A month before my 21st birthday, which was going to be spent on a cruise, she started having dizzy spells, and a few days before, she fell off the roof as she was trying to patch a few leaks. Rightfully, I was upset, and my parents lashed out at me for being selfish when my sister got injured trying to do something to help them. When I graduated my MBA at 22, she got very sick after eating shellfish, which everyone knows she's deathly allergic to. The day after my partner proposed, she got into an accident while driving on a sunny day, with great road conditions, saying that she didn't see a light pole or something. She threw me a surprise engagement party, and guess who accidentally ate prawns and was rushed to the hospital halfway through the party? To avoid any drama at my wedding, my partner and I decided to elope with a few friends, and it was the first time something was all about me, for once. My parents were bitter about not being part of wedding celebrations, so we planned a reception type thing for friends and family on our second anniversary. My dad will walk me down the aisle, and my mom will do the something old thing, etc. They had been buzzing with excitement and looking forward to the wedding. The event is this coming weekend, and guests have already started flying in, as they want to celebrate the whole week and treat it as a reunion of sorts. But like every other big moment of my life, I am writing this post sitting in a hospital waiting room because Nancy apparently had a big psychotic break because her boyfriend dumped her in February. So there is a psychiatrist admitting her for 21 days as he believes she's a danger to herself. And now my parents are trying to talk me into postponing because it would be heartless of me to celebrate while my sister is cuffed to a bed for the next 3 weeks. I had a meltdown of my own and told my sister that if she wanted to go to heaven that desperately, could she not have done it when we were younger so I could be spared from all her drama? And now there's a handful of family members who are calling me a cruel bridezilla for taking my stress out on my sister when she's so unwell. I told all of them that I would be proceeding with the wedding, as a lot of time and money had already gone into it, and they're welcome to mope around a hospital to support my sister. They told me that I was unfair for making them have to choose between a party and my sister, who is on her deathbed. Edited to add, I know she isn't in her deathbed. Any sane person reading this post knows she's not on her deathbed. But to my family, this is a life or death situation, because only God knows what they'll do to her in there. And they're especially incensed by the very limited visitation because they're convinced the psychiatrist is doing it so she can get pumped full of medication, and so the hospital can make money, yada yada yada. Now for the top comments. Your sister is a drama queen, and your parents are her flying monkey attendants. Deathbed? She's on a psychiatric hold, which is hardly a deathbed. Please go no contact with these people. Who knows what antics she will pull when you are in labor trying to deliver your first child. Not the a-hole. Oh, I gave birth in March last year, and that time, she fainted in the delivery room, and I got a smack from my dad for allowing her to see something so gruesome when I know she's fragile. Just typing that out made me laugh a bit, because it's just so unfathomable. Your dad blamed you for giving birth and traumatizing your adult sister? OMG. I swear. I had initially asked them not to be at a hospital, but they showed up, and I was honestly too tired to deal with the fallout, so I let them keep me company. When I was pushing, she first started gagging and my nurse, God bless her soul, told her to leave the room. And she fainted outside and all hell broke loose because I apparently did that on purpose. The nurse kicked all of them out and things went smoothly, but my son's birth will forever be tainted by that mess. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister to my wedding because she cried rape on my fiancé? This might be long, but I apologize. My sister Ellie has issues. Not sure which issues, as she's never seen a doctor or been diagnosed. But my sister has always had a need to be the center of attention. When she was in middle school, she harmed herself to look like she got jumped at school. Freshman year of high school, she put herself in the hospital for stabbing herself in the arm several times with scissors because my parents grounded her. These are just some of the many psychotic things my sister has done. Well, in junior year, my sister cried on this guy John. We believed her. Then when my dad showed up at John's house and the police were called, my sister admitted she was lying, admitted she had a big crush on John and he rejected her. 7 years later, John and I worked together. We fell in love, and we had our first child 6 months ago, and our wedding is scheduled for December. As our date approached, my sister reached out and told me she still didn't get her invite. I told her I wasn't comfortable having her at my wedding. We don't see her much because of what she did. She said that was unfair and she couldn't miss her sister's wedding. And I said that was perfectly fair, especially since her past with John. She said that wasn't fair of me to hold that over her head since it was so many years ago, and that she was family and she deserved to go. I told her that wouldn't be happening and said I was sorry. She then called my mom, who called me, trying to persuade me to let my sister go because it's not her fault she has issues. I refused. My sister then called me hysterically, accusing me of stealing the life she always wanted and saying how sorry she was and begging me to go. I hung up. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but I think you will need security at your wedding to deal with your sister when she shows up. Cause the last thing you want is her showing up and causing a scene, which from the sounds of it is something she will do. Let your mother know if she keeps up her BS. She may not have any contact with any future children that you have. Sorry about what has gone on, but you need to stand your ground. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Congrats on your forthcoming wedding. She has only met my daughter once already, which was the only time I've seen her in 6 months. Sounds like you already went low contact. Good on ya. Not the a-hole. Stealing the life she always wanted. Yeah, your sister will cause a scene at your wedding. She'll wear a white dress, she'll object, she'll tell everyone elaborate stories about how the groom is secretly in love with her. She'll give an inappropriate speech. She'll tear off her shirt and dance on the tables. Absolutely perfectly not the a-hole. Not only the lies she told about your fiancé, but God only knows what kind of drama she would cause. Stand firm in your decision. Did your parents never get her proper treatment over the years or what? No, they never did. My sister has never been evaluated. My sister had been in the hospital 5 times throughout high school for harming herself, and the hospital had child services come out. And they tried to persuade my parents to have her evaluated, in which my parents agreed but they never did. Even as an adult, she's acted out aggressively to herself. Next story. Am I the a-hole for uninviting my partner's family from our wedding? My partner and I recently became engaged. We plan on having about 40 guests, mostly from his side, as I only have one living relative, whereas it comes from a large family. I set up a wedding website last night, and on it I gave our registry with a link to our wish list from an online store for inspiration. The wish list had a whole bunch of household items, kettles, toasters, etc., ranging in price with all of them coming in at under $50. The cheapest item on it was a set of ceramic measuring spoons at $15. The most expensive was a porcelain dinner set at $49. When I asked my partner to look through everything on a website, he told me that his extended family members won't be expecting to give us any gifts at our wedding. He said that at most, we might get a bottle of wine from somebody. I don't even drink alcohol, but that we would not get anything from his aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. So doing a registry is a bit much, given nobody's going to look at it. I was absolutely shocked. I think it is the height of bad manners to attend a party, whether it's a wedding or a birthday or whatnot, and not bring a gift of some sort. I cannot imagine going to an event someone has organized for me, eating a 3-course meal they've paid for, dancing to a DJ they've paid for, drinking the drinks they've paid for, and not even bothering to buy them a $15 kettle. I think it's extremely entitled and lacking in any class. I know that if someone came to the wedding and did not give a gift, I would find it deeply disrespectful, and it would sour the whole event for me. So I told him if any of his relatives cannot be bothered to bring a gift to the wedding, then I would rather they not attend at all. I told him I'm not happy paying to entertain someone who can't even show the good manners to offer a token thank you on the day. For me, it's not about the gifts. We already have a perfectly fine toaster, etc. It's about the principle of showing thanks for time, money, effort, etc. spent on giving everyone a good time. My partner thinks I am overreacting and acting like a diva bride, that it is perfectly fine for his relatives to give us nothing on our wedding day, and that I need to stop getting my ideas on what weddings look like from social media. To be clear, his relatives are all local, so there are no associated costs like travel, accommodation, etc. to attending the wedding. They have a spare couple of dollars to buy a measuring jug or whatever. Our wedding, while small, will see all guests receive a free 3-course meal, drinks, disco, and ride home at the end of the night. So, they will all be fully looked after. Am I the a-hole for telling my partner that if his extended family have no intention of giving us a gift at our wedding, then I would rather they don't attend? You're the a-hole. You're not spending that money on them, you're spending it on your wedding. Are you getting married for the gifts, or for the man you have chosen to spend the rest of your life with? How do you think it will affect future relationships with his family if you pull this entitled stunt literally right out of the gates of the marriage? You have chosen this to be your hill, and have fear that you will not make it out. Miss Manners and other advice columnists would agree that you're the a-hole. You are celebrating your union, not collecting entrance fee. It may be disappointing should people choose not to give a token gift, but please don't keep score and turn vindictive. Disinviting them sours all relationships moving forward. No one is actively plotting to disrespect you. So put on a happy face in what should be one of the happiest days of your life. Be generous of spirit and let it go. Why don't you just not have a wedding and elope? Don't waste your money for others to have a good time. If they want to celebrate your marriage, then they can hold a party. If not, just celebrate with your fiancé. But then she wouldn't get any gifts at all. But if she really doesn't care about that, like she said in her post, then it shouldn't be an issue. Why would anyone pay for a wedding and catering and a reception place and a DJ and a photographer and a priest and everything, and not bring a gift for the newlyweds? There's no way I'd pay for all that stuff to be taken advantage of. I originally wanted to go to a registry with just my partner, our parents and his siblings, nobody else. Then maybe go for a quiet dinner at our favorite restaurant. It's my partner who wants us to have a big, by comparison, formal wedding with extended family members and so on. Which, I suppose, is part of why I feel so slighted by them not even bothering to give a thank you card. But you don't care if your fiancé feels slighted by you and inviting all his family based on something that hasn't happened yet? This is clearly important to him, but you're willing to uninvite them because they don't meet your expectations? That would irreparably harm their relationship and would be super selfish. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit during brother-in-law's wedding? Me, 32 female, husband 34 male. 2 weeks before our 2018 wedding, brother-in-law got drunk during hubby's stag do. Brother-in-law and two cousins shared group texts with everyone at a party about me, which were extremely offensive, resulting in an argument between husband and brother-in-law. No one ever apologized. In-laws covered for those involved, said I overreacted. It was just British humor. These comments mocked my appearance, non-Brit accent, family and health issues. I basically ignored everyone from that point on, always polite but distant, and made no attempts at friendship. At Christmas, we announced our pregnancy and due date of August. At the same time, brother-in-law/future sister-in-law announced their wedding date and venue for October 2023. The location is 2 hours from our house. A few days later, mother-in-law asks if I had looked at venue online, which I had. The venue caters to kid-free events. I said to mother-in-law that it looks lovely, but I was concerned about kid-free element and distance from our house since weddings are an all-day thing. Mother-in-law says, "Oh, they're not having a kid-free wedding." We got an invitation in the mail. It's kid-free, which is okay with us. With the invitation was a note which read, "At request of mother-in-law/father-in-law, they have reserved a guest room at the venue for us the night of wedding." We politely replied to RSVP saying we wouldn't be attending because we couldn't leave our baby overnight as we have no one we feel comfortable leaving him with. He'll only be 7 weeks. I have no family in the UK. Hubby's family will be at wedding, and hubby said he won't go if baby and I aren't going. Next day, mother-in-law/father-in-law call upset we aren't attending and say I could spend a day in the room during the wedding because it would look bad if hubby's not there. Hubby told them that was ridiculous to expect me to spend a day in a hotel room with my infant. My father-in-law argued that several cousins had small children and were still attending, but we stood firm. 1 week later, father-in-law announces that a cousin's friend has agreed to watch all the family's kids. 6 kids under 4-year-old, plus our 7-year-old in our home during wedding, since it's closest to venue. We politely declined and explained I just had a C-section 8 days ago. I'm also not leaving my then-be 7-week-old overnight with one stranger and a group of 6 kids. We thought that was the end of it, but 3 days ago got a message from one of the cousins asking to call about wedding. I showed it to hubby, and we forgot about it until yesterday. Cousin's wife called wanting to know what items she should bring for her daughter. Turns out, father-in-law and brother-in-law told family that we aren't attending to keep all the cousins' children. I was mad and told her that was not true. I wasn't running an overnight drop-in service for a bunch of people who didn't even like me. And now in-laws are saying my refusal is embarrassing and makes them and brother-in-law look bad. Brother-in-law is called repeatedly. Several group text participants have left messages to chat. My husband and some family is on our side, but others feel like I'm being petty and holding a grudge to ruin brother-in-law's wedding. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but be prepared they will leave their kids at your doorstep the day of. Don't be home. Plan a trip with your baby and husband. Your husband is doing the only thing that he should do, and that's not going to that wedding. Especially since his family keep disrespecting you, his wife. The sheer audacity. This is genius. Overnight at a hotel nearby and put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Make sure you leave 2 days before the wedding or more. They will try to corner you into accepting. Screw them. Just park the cars down the street and close the blinds so they think you are not home. They just expect you to take care of 6 other kids when you have a new baby and have recently had surgery. They didn't even ask. Not the a-hole. That's why I was so mad. Adding to that, 3 of the 6 kids I've never even seen because they live 8 hours away and only met the parents one time, so it feels really awkward. And 6 little kids bringing who knows what germs from daycare, etc. to your home with your 7-week-old baby.